always preach is that don't take a trade you don't understand. So for me, my understanding basically tells me that we are bullish. See the almighty Jaguar in the house, the only Jaguar in the forex industry. Only Jaguar in the house. Nice one. Good night. The only Jaguar in the house. The only Jaguar in the house. So for me, guys, simplicity is key. I do not like complicating my analysis. To the point. The only female trader in the industry coming in. We are so blessed.
Hey.
How are you, my dog?
I'm so good.
You're looking so fine. You're looking so fine.
Boy, I'm in pajamas. Okay,
You're looking so fine.
Thank you. You look good. I didn't even know you wear do-rags, bro.
Dog, I couldn't wear my do-rag that day because obvious.
Hey, how are you? Kisha, buena. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna be a bit quick, ne?
Yeah.
I agree with your analysis, but to a certain extent, right?
Okay.
And the reason as to why I just beg to differ is because I've come to realize that there's actually there's a bit of change in market structure right now, right? And I've picked up that a lot of people, the reason as to why a lot of people are actually going to lose out on a lot of money now is because people are not going to allow the market to do the total opposite. And if you checked with like currency pairs, NASDAQ, there's currently a shift in the market, so the market is about to pull back heavily, and I picked up on, I'm just going to analyze this US30 again, right?
Yes.
Just open this thing. Sorry, just a second. Where are you? Okay, cool. So this is my analysis. I'm just going to keep it short. I'm not going to use any big terms, right? Just pure transaction. How do you turn the camera? Okay, so this is what I'm seeing, right? Yeah. Currently, we have this monthly candlestick that has been given birth to, right? So I'm very big on analyzing what took place before what we currently have, right? So I'm just gonna mark, I'm just gonna put a zone of sensitivity on the wick of this previous candlestick. And then I'm just going to also put another zone here because I'm just trying to understand why it turned, right? Yeah. I'm just going to drag it to the left. So the only reason why this monthly candlestick is pushing up is because it was forced to respect a zone of sensitivity. If there was no zone here, the market was definitely going to carry on selling, right? 100%. And also, boy, if you look at this red candlestick here, this is basically a reversal candlestick. It's already indicating a shift in the market, right? So meaning the only reason why this candlestick is currently pushing up is because it's going to run to the nearest zone it can find. It's going to give us a close of a reversal candlestick on any hidden zone that we'll probably find here on a smaller time frame, right? So the next zone that I can pick up here is obviously this one here, right? Okay, cool. I'm just going to move to a smaller time frame. So that was my monthly, no? Okay. Boy, look at how bearish this candlestick is, right? We're not about to ignore how bearish this weekly candlestick is. 100%. And obviously, I can again see that the only reason why we have the existence of this wick and the reason why we had this market push up is because of a very strong zone on a monthly chart, right? So I best believe that we're going to push up slightly, right? Only for us to touch a zone and then make our way down again. But now if I move down to daily, can you see how close we are to that reversal, right? And also, if you look at the market is already giving us buying pullbacks, as in we push down, we had a buy as a pullback. And remember, if we're buying as a pullback, it already means that the market is giving us the structure for a sell. Do you know what I mean? And also, if I go on my H4 and I try to add my trend line, I've come to realize that actually those, what is it? Sorry. The buyers have actually expired. Let me just move back so you guys can see it. I found a really nice trend line, and I actually realized that this trend line was also retested. So I'm just going to say this is my first point. This is my second point, right? If it's point 1 and point 2, I know for a fact that this is used for the trend line to be connected. Point 1, point 2, it's accurate. Why? Because point 3 fell into place, they respected, they pushed up. And we had a very strong zone, right? But now look what happened here. This trend line was broken. They came down. Anything that is retested, we know for a fact, is no longer valid. So these buys have expired. The market retested the trend line. The market also sat on a very strong zone of sensitivity. It pushed away. The only reason why the market is currently here pushing up is because it was forced to respect a zone of sensitivity. Keeping in mind also that it's the 1st of February, right? It's a new monthly candlestick, but it will definitely push down. I would say, right, if we were to draw another trend line, let's try do this. It's not valid. Let me push it here. Just maybe we will rush here, but it's very short. For me, this is honestly a sell. The biggest sell we're gonna, not the biggest, but I mean, I'm just seeing, how do I turn my camera? Okay, so I'm just seeing a sell, and I think this is what, if you look at all the other currency pairs, boy, and you look at all these indices, and the market is slowly but surely showing us a lot of pullbacks that are about to come, right? But remember, they happen so slow. It's not instant. It's not like the market is definitely just going to give you a direction, And this is where a lot of people are actually going to get stuck into not adjusting their minds to allowing the market to do what it needs to do. Like if you look at all those currency pairs, no one sees those pullbacks coming. For e.g., look at USD CAD. USD CAD has been selling for 10 months straight, right? But people are currently so uncomfortable with it having to pull back to the upside. So I feel like the same is about to happen. Check NASDAQ. Honestly, I feel like NASDAQ still has to drop, but it's not going to be so obvious. But if you look at all those pullbacks for both USD CAD and, no, not USD CAD. If you look at all those pullbacks for US30 and NASDAQ, we are currently having buys as pullbacks. So if we're having buys as pullbacks, I know this is only the market gaining more strength for it to shoot down. So that's my 2 cents. I don't know what you think. Yeah.
So as you were analyzing there, I noticed something on a time frame that I hadn't been really focusing on. That is the weekly time frame, Wabo. So on the weekly, I'll show you what I saw on the weekly as you were analyzing. Even on the monthly, or even on the monthly as well. Okay, so let's look at something, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Let me show you something that I'm seeing on the weekly as well. Let me show you something on the weekly. Let me quickly do this. So yeah. So weekly time frame. We have previous high over here. Sorry. You see, so we have previous high over here. And if I look at this properly, the reason why we're probably now reacting from here is possibly from this previous high.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Correct.
Because then now this looks like it's a breakout and a retest of this previous high. That's for starters. Ne?
Yes,
Breakout
right.
and retest of the previous high. Let's go to the monthly and observe what we do have there as well. So even on the monthly, I'm sorry that my candles are black. So they are black because I'm avoiding confusion from colors.
Yeah.
You see, some people get confused from colors. But if you really look, if you really look at this, we really broke out. So in essence, if I really try to draw like something here, Nick, so this is what we have. Pull back, you see. So I'm gonna draw this. So this is what we have. So push, and that's a pullback. Nick, that's a pullback to the same low. Came back up, created that low, and then pull back above, and then whatever. So what I'm gonna try and do now is try and basically explain what I'm talking about here. So if you really try to look at this, in my perspective, we did have a high, market pushed back to whatever, broke above the high. So if we are clear about our bias and the market breaks above the high like this, what does it, if the market creates a higher high and then comes back to create a low point over here, like this is clearly a low because then it's rejecting from here. See, we are halfway here. So if this is happening, obviously the next move that I'm expecting is a higher high. You see, if this is true, do you know what I'm saying? If you look at
Yeah.
this setup and we look at what's happening now, actually, let me do this. Because then I want to understand something even from what's going on right now. You see, previous high broken and tested. I think that's what's going on right now. You see, because then this previous highest point, like the previous highest price was broken and is now being retested. So there's a high chance that right now we're probably coming back. We probably came back to this region to test the previous high. There's a high chance that this thing is what's happening here. You see, on the
Okay. What
monthly,
what
this is the
time
monthly
frame is
time
that?
frame.
What time frame is
This is
that?
the monthly. This is the
Okay.
monthly. You see, so there's a high chance that this is a breakout and a retest, because remember that if the market is basically going down, I will not focus on this reversal candlestick. The reason why I'm not going to focus on this is because this is incomplete as yet. Because remember that for us to validate a reversal candlestick, we must validate it by the second candle that comes after that formation. Do you agree with me? Because then, obviously, if we have a bearish candle like this, then the second candlestick must be bearish as well for us to know that, okay, clean, that's a reversal, which can take us the whole month to figure out whether this candle's bullish or bearish. But for now, at least, I can say the reason why I think the market is pulling back to this region is probably because then we are testing a previous high from the monthly. And that
Can
high
I
was
say
probably
something?
around 29,500.
Correct. You know what I want to
Yeah.
say, right? Remember, I think if you were to wait for the second monthly candlestick to be to also turn color or show a reversal, then it's so delayed, boy. Because if you actually analyze, right? Let me show you something. Um, okay, cool. So this is right. Okay, let me just clear everything quickly. Remove drawings. Okay, cool. Let's look at this, right? Okay, cool. I know that we obviously spoke about this turn. Né? This
Yeah.
turn is obviously inspired by this zone of sensitivity. We agree. Né? But now remember, né? The market is responsible for it has to basically move from zone to zone. Né? The market
Yeah.
had to bounce off of the zone, its duty is to move on to the next zone that it can find, right? And in this case, if I had to analyze these two candlesticks, trust you me, this candlestick, let's just put a zone on this candlestick itself, right? Because do you see it left a little wick here, right? The fact that there was a wick that means that there's something that is not so existent that it had to respect. Né? But now I'm getting an answer from this candlestick here. Both these candlesticks closed under the same zone, right? So that means there is a very powerful zone here. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Fine. Already I'm saying this trend has to run from this to here, right? But it might not even potentially reach that zone, boy, because remember, the only reason we are buying now is because initially, if you look at this week that was left here, né, the market was actually pushing down. It got stopped by this zone here. That is why we have the existence of this week, right? Currently, it's gonna push up. It's gonna come across a zone that we might find on a smaller time frame, and then it will leave a wick and push down. Okay, that is why we can't even conclude on this weekly time frame itself. Because now remember, the only reason why we have this is because the market was forced to respect a zone of sensitivity. Do you know what I mean? This previous candle, boy, look at all these people. They were turning here for a reason. This already shows you a sign of a reversal taking place in the market. These people rejected one, two, three, four times, and then they finally pushed down, right? So we're not going to ignore this previous candlestick, because this is where we're going to get our prediction from. Do you know what I mean? The fact that these
Yeah.
ones are so bullish. Remember, even this candlestick, it was just given birth to today. It's got a responsibility of running to the nearest zone that it can find, give us rejections, and then sink down. That is why I'm not about to conclude on this. This candlestick has not closed, right? It's going to push up. It's going to leave a wick. It will close below the zone. And if you look on daily, right? Let's go to daily. Boy, look at this. This market pushed down, right? It got here. It pushed up. So already this is confirmation number one. I'm already having a buying pullback. Buying pullback means what? I'm about to sell because remember, this is the market basically resting to have more strength to shoot down. The only reason why these ones bought here is because why? They are forced to give us another pullback. This pullback is going to go up. They're going to get exhausted. They will push down, right? If you look at H4, you can tell, boy, that this market is selling. This is a selling structure, right? This is only a pullback. This right here is a pullback. Now, question is, where is this pullback going to end, right? I would have ignored all these buys. These buys are not of importance. The same way I would have ignored these, I would have ignored these because this is a selling market. Remember, we use a pullback for what? To give you entry levels. So now what we have to do is make analyze, right? And find past information between this. Let's analyze this current H4 candle. I'm going to put a horizontal line on it because do you see how it's already decreasing in size? Why is this candlestick decreasing in size? Because we're sitting at a very common zone in this block, right? So is this the part where this US30 actually turns down? Possibly, right? But if it does decide that it's going to break through this, it will push here. But I can guarantee you this thing is only leaving a wick here, only to push down. But also where we are, this is a very powerful zone of sensitivity. And if you look at it on a smaller time frame, we probably are, look, do you see how we're already finding rejections here? But now this is not a confirmation as yet. I'm gonna wait for an H4 close, meaning a reversal candlestick. Should this thing close as a reversal candlestick, I know for a fact it is a reversal candlestick that is closed on a zone of sensitivity. We're expecting the market to push down. And this is what I'm saying. People really need to pay attention to this previous candle. This is too steep to be buying. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, let me show you something on the weekly now, because so obviously you're saying we're gonna look at this bearish momentum to decide how this candle is gonna close, right? So you're saying our main basis of analysis is how the market was reacting. What is happening? Okay, 1 week. Let's go to weekly. I wanna show you something, then. So you are saying that, okay, our main basis for selling is how market was rejecting there before it dropped. Ne? So we do know that obviously if market is dropping, especially the stock market is dropping because it's testing a previous zone. All right. So we can't be selling wire on the stock market because obviously with time, as time increases, price gains momentum. All right. So that's a fact. As time increases, price gains momentum. So now my first basis of my buy is that we broke past this previous high. Let me go back to previous market because we do know that what has happened in the past has potential to happen again in the future, right? So let me remove my drawings again. Now let's do this. I wanna use previous data. Replay. Let's do this. Fine. So suppose this is what we had, right? So we have this high. Let's say we had this high, and then the market comes and does this. So this is the same setup, right? That we have something that sort of looks like a reversal candlestick, right? So from this point, where is that next?
Wait, what time frame is that?
This is weekly still, but I want to show you something based on what I'm doing now, based on my explanation of what's happening. Remember that once we trade, we use forex is like this. It's like you use previous data to know future data. So price always repeats itself, and it's like patterns, like a sequence of the same events happening in different ways and in different days. So I'll explain to you my basis of my buy and how I'm basically confident with this buy and why I'm saying it's gonna buy using previous information that has happened.
Yes.
So let's look at this. So we have stop smiling on the live when I'll video call you and you will smile later.
Sorry.
So this is what I'm saying, right? So previous high broken, and then market goes above previous high. For me, once previous high breaks to me and we get a higher high and the market comes back to retest that previous high, I will keep on buying. So let's look at this. I would be bullish in my sentiment here. So let's see
What
this.
time frame is that? Sorry again.
This is the weekly still. I want to show you something. I'm going to go to current market, but this was the week of the 31st of August. So I'm trying to come with
Okay.
my
Yeah,
bias and
okay, cool.
understanding, right?
Um,
So from here, this is what you had. So you had this market going there. So it kind of looks like it's pushing up, and that's still fine. And then we come back and we do this. You see, now we are back into that zone. So this is a buying zone. So for me, I would be looking for buys. Why? Because this is a previous buying area, you know? And then again, what happens is market leaves a wick over there. You see, and then the next week comes. Let's see how this thing. Okay, it's the same week. Okay, fine. Kind of looks like it's not doing anything. Buyers and sellers are being chopped at the same time, but obviously the market has left the wick over there. Once it leaves the wick, it's confirming that, okay, that previous high is holding, all right? And then market keeps on going. It's moving now, moving. Okay, fine. This thing comes. Look at how this candlestick closed. But still, it didn't really close below. It's still within that same area. It didn't really close below, you see. And then one thing that happens again, you see, market starts leaving wicks. It's still that same wick. You see what happens? Fakes below and then leaves the wick again. Now look at that wick it left. You see, because now also the longer the wick, that basically says, okay, fine, there's actually buyers in the market. That's buying pressure, right? And then fine, the market does what? Okay, let's carry on. Let's see how price plays out over here. And I want to show you something. That's why I came to this specific area, because there's something that you mentioned on current price that I want to basically also kind of note. So from here, we got a rejection on previous high, went back to this same area, that resistance area. We came back around there. Let's observe now what is happening over there. You see, I want these guys to actually see. So now what do we have? We have a double top, right? So we have a double top according to the double top traders or whatever people that use, like these patterns that people use. So we've got a double top over there. So a lot of people are now saying, US30 is selling because why? There's a double top on the weekly time frame. So look at how this happened. Look at this, ne? I want you to look at this. Remember that once this happens, there's a previous weekly low that happened over there. So we are now monitoring to observe what is happening around there. And then you fast forward again. Let's see. I want you to see this weekly candlestick is gonna close. You must check how this weekly closed. I was there on US States when this was happening. Look at how then this weekly candlestick closed. Ne? That it closed exactly like that. You see how it closed? This is top one, top two. For double top traders, they will see a pattern. But for structured traders, what we are seeing is that this low is holding. It was never broken, this low. The same thing that I'm saying. It was never broken. It held. Why am I saying this? This low, the market left the wick over there on this low, even though it was a double top, but structure still says that we are bullish because we didn't break past this previous low. Let's see how then this weekly candlestick closes. This is where now people are blowing Shebo money, dog. This is where people are blowing Shebo money because they are thinking that, you see now the double top is now violated. Market back to the highs on the same week. You see. Now look at the following week, what really happened. Look at that. So what I'm trying to explain here is that number one, the reason why this thing bought from this example that I was doing is that the previous high number one was broken. The previous high was broken. Market faked into this level to create a low, created a fake double top for people to believe that this thing is selling. And then from that point, market went back down to where to test that previous low. And that previous low was not broken. Now look at how then this weekly candlestick closed, regardless of how then the previous candlesticks formed. Like look at how the reversals we had. Look at the reversals we had over there. And this structure was now looking like it's a bearish. And if you are using trend lines, this is why I hate trend lines. Let me show you today why I hate trend lines on the live. You see, this is exactly why I hate trend lines. For a trend line trader, they would say this is my first point. And my second point is somewhere around there or whatever. You see, look at that. So first point, second point. But look at then how then this thing was now violated. You see, this is why I hate trend lines.
I don't think, boy, that trend line is incorrect because you don't have an
fine. So maybe they, I don't know how to draw trend lines. I don't use them, you see. So I'm
Good
assuming
job.
that
Mm.
this was gonna be the trend line because then you have a clear first point and maybe second point or second point somewhere around there. I don't know.
I
But
would
this is the
actually, you see that point that you just held now? Go down, down, down. No, 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 no. Take the first point, move it to your second point for it to be your first point. Yeah. Take it up. Yes. Put it there and then extend it. Just push it down to accommodate that wick. Yeah. Push it up. And you see that. Okay. I wanna, yes. So I would have seen, yes. Do you see what happened? So obviously we see that that was a false breakout, but the only reason why that was a false breakout is because the market went to retest on a zone of sensitivity.
100%. You see, so for other people, I mean, there's someone who could have drawn the trend line here because that's another zone in another area. You see, for trend line traders, I don't know how people draw trend lines, but someone, I mean, I don't know, So I'm gonna remove the trend line because, like, I don't want to draw trend lines. What I'm looking at is pure structure to say that, okay, fine, we had this previous high break. Once the previous high is broken, then the bulls are in control. And the only time we can then validate sells is when the previous low is broken. If the market comes and breaks past that previous low, then I would say I know I easily share and this thing's gonna sell. But right now we are still holding and maintaining, which is why even this deep pullback is still a higher low because this low is obviously higher than that one, you see. So now the market came, established that low, went up to there, created a fake double top. For double top traders around here, people would be backholding sells because now they are thinking this is a double top pattern. The next thing after doing that, then it goes up. Look at how the market reversed and look at how strong this bearish momentum is. But then always the bulls always stay winning in this market because this is an indice market, right? So I think do you get my point? Like
Can
the
I
point I
just
was trying to make here.
explain? Yeah, can I just point something out? And this
Yeah.
is why, if I just want to show you something on Nasdaq quickly, and this is why I just want to emphasize the importance of allowing the market to do what it wants to do. Let me just wipe this. You see, Ankira, we always saying this is a buying market, whatever, whatever, whatever. But you see that at some point, this market, this is a monthly chart, né? At some point,
Yeah.
Nasdaq sold for straight 2 months. 2 months, right? Even here we see at some
Yeah.
point they sold 2 months for 2 months. Here they sold for 1 to 3 months, right? So now this is me basically saying if we're already seeing a sign of a sell on US30, it should never be ignored because this might be that time where the market needs to give us a reversal for it to just pull back and give us proper buys. Because boy, remember, look at this. I strongly believe, and I'm still gonna stick by my word, right? This thing is only buying because it's pulling back. Remember, it's only the 1st of Feb, right? And the market is only bouncing off of a zone. Nah. Look at the zone that we already marked here. I'm just gonna go to H4. Do you see how already H4 Yona self is already trying to pull back from this? Sorry, I'm just gonna go down. Do you see how H4 is already trying to respect the zone, right? So I'm just saying, yes, it might look like the market is buying, but we can never, ever cheat past information. These two candles, boy, look at how both these candles closed at the same price. Okay, this candle here, I'm going to just go back to, I just want to repeat this thing now. I'm fine. Look at this candle. This candle went up, it closed. Ne? If you zoom in, you'll actually see that there's a little wick here that was left, right? So I pay a lot of attention to wicks because in most cases, especially when it comes to indices, these wicks mean a lot. And remember, you can't actually back it up because we don't have past information. So this wick is saying a lot, right? It closed here. And then we saw that the market pushed up, so it was buying. But I want you to see how this market literally came back to respect the existence of this hidden zone here. Do you see what I mean? So now this means that there's a very powerful zone that was being respected here, right? Sure. So already I'm seeing, boy, this is a reversal candlestick. This is a reversal candlestick that was given birth to where? At a zone of sensitivity. Right. So now
I
look
get
at
you, boy. Like, yeah.
yes, they are moving up, but now remember the duty of every monthly candlestick that is given birth to is to go touch a zone the nearest zone that it can find. And here we don't have enough information to predict from. But if you go on weekly, boy, we can see that this thing says a lot. This is very bearish. This is only buying because it needs to go touch a zone. Do you know what I mean? So we can see that obviously these ones came down. So now the only thing it needs to do is to pull back so it can give sellers an entry to go down. And also, I just want to say something. Remember, every month when a candlestick is given birth to, it needs to track. You know what I mean? It can't just decide that I'm gonna go down. It can't just decide that I'm gonna go up. It never plays out like that. We can
Sorry, dog. I just saw another
bet on this one.
comment.
I am very confident
But
with myself.
my man, boy. But now I was taught forex with painted nails.
But but look at what I just want to say. I hear that the buys, it looks like the buys are going to take over, but I am not going to ignore those two candlesticks, monthly candlesticks.
Okay,
also,
let me ask you something.
Yes, it's also, wait, I need you to do something. I need you to go to your screen. Oh, are we using filters now? I need you to go to your screen. I saw a moving average, and I saw that your moving average is facing down. So please don't.
Wait, on the current market.
Go to US30.
Okay, wait, let me go. I didn't see that moving average. Let me go. I see what you mean, dog. I didn't see that.
Do you see your moving average is facing down? I don't know what you use it for, but I saw that thing is facing down. So I think, boy, let me tell you, these buys are literally just the market pulling back. It's okay for people to buy, but remember, we don't trade against the trend. The trend is your friend. Currently, we need to be watching those buys. So we wait for a reversal candlestick to be given birth to, and then we know now we are safe for sellers. If people are buying, buy. It's perfect, man. But now that is a pullback.
Okay, fine. Let me ask you something, ne? Okay, fine. Let's look at this, boy. Let's look at this. So we are just okay, fine. I'm gonna have to show you this because I think it's important that we look at every element before we can sort of come with a conclusion as to where this thing is going and stuff like that. So let's do this, dog. Let's do this. Okay, fine. Ati susa ma filter pela ma chata weko man. Okay, check ne. This is my basis for buying because it broke previous high, number one. My moving average, I don't trade based on the moving average. The moving average is to confirm that once this thing pops up, then it's confirmation of what my eyes are already seeing. Ne? Same thing that I would have done here. Like price before this was below moving average and it kind of looked like it's selling. But once price popped above moving average, then it confirmed that buy, that yeah, no, this thing is buying for real. All right. So this is what I also use it for, in case you are wondering, to say why is price below moving average? So how I use them is that price will pop above to confirm that this thing is really buying. So if you really look at this structure, you will notice that this is a very, very bullish structure, right? So on a buying market, we cannot be selling. Let's scrutinize this. We have a low and then we have a high. And then, okay, let me do this actually for the sake of those who are asking why I'm not covering this high. And then we have a higher low over there. And then we have a higher high over there. And then we have a higher low over there. So we are following structure, right? And trying to see what is really happening. And then we have a higher high over there. And then we have a higher low over here. And then obviously market failed to break past that high, came back to test the same low. And obviously from here we had what? We had higher high. So where would you put your higher high? Would it be here or there? Where would it be? The next higher high. So it's obviously around here, ne? Because that's the full push, right? Full push. So now pull back into this region. Now, so remember that this setup, now I'm still here, that after a break of a zone, the market has to come back to retest that broken level. Kia wants to come join after. We'll add you on, my bro, after this. Pull back from this, and then we start buying, all right? So the next higher low can potentially be on what? On the previous high point. Do you agree with me? when we speak about structure formation, previous low point can be on previous high. And right now we do have a high, and market was pulling back to give us a low point. And then the market was pulling back to give us a low point based on the ideology that we have from low to high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, we have a higher low. This is a higher high. So the next higher low can potentially be on the previous high point. Same thing that I did here. That's the same understanding that I'm coming with to say that this can be a previous high, a previous low point. And this candlestick does not scare me. The reason why it doesn't scare me is because this candlestick also was bearish. Look at how bullish this new weekly candlestick was, and look at the possibilities of this thing actually closing a bullish candle.
The only reason that candlestick was forced to go up like that is because it was sitting on a very strong zone. It did not have a choice as to whether it needs to break.
You mean this? You mean
yeah,
this?
that's a very strong zone. And this is why, actually, do you see? Please take that finger off that candlestick. Do you see how? Look at that previous candlestick, boy. Ne? Do you see that there's a wick there, right?
Yeah.
If you try and study that wick, you'll see that. Do you see that other candlestick there where you threw the wick on? That candlestick that is next to that one that is bullish was only respecting that zone. That was obviously that came into existence because of the turning of that other wick, right? And this is why that one you were pointing at was forced to go up. But if you look at it, even it had a wick, meaning it had to go touch and then push up again. So that one, it did not have a choice. It had to go up because why? It was a zone, a very strong zone that it had to respect.
Okay, so let me show you something on the current market. Ne?
Okay,
so
cool.
You see, okay, obviously this thing was pushed up because of the sensitivity from this previous week, ne? Just 1 week. So right now, what we have on this area, on this price, around 302.50, we have previous high. This is where stock market crash happened, exactly at that price. That's why we had that biggest sell. This zone is very strong because once the market got there, it just dropped from that area, you see. But now we are back on the same area that market actually dropped from. So this is a very strong zone because then once the market got there, it really dropped. Look at how then these previous weeks were behaving around that area. We got a break above, and then we had like pullbacks, like retests on that same area and region. So if you really try to look at this, like I'm gonna use my charger because it's very small. You see, like look at that. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks spiking around the same area. So 4 weeks failing to break past the same area. Then market is now back at the same region. Do you not think that this is an area of sensitivity and that the market can just push up from this area, close above this thing, and then just start buying?
No,
like buying to the next possible high.
Can I also show you something, ne?
Yeah.
Remember, I want to show you something. And this is US30, ne? Because I just want to pinpoint an overall movement. So I'm just going back to the past. This is where the market is currently at, ne? And I just want to pay attention to the movements that happened here. Once upon a time, the market went up, very bullish, ne? But do you see how it suddenly went down? But this also, because why? We had a very strong, right? So I want you, exactly. So let's study this zone because this is very similar to what's currently happening in the market. I feel like a lot of people are not aligning their minds to the market potentially pulling back, right? Look here, boy. Already this is a zone, right? We see that the market went up. Now, I keep saying I study these wicks a lot because this means that the market was respecting a zone that is probably not seen. So I'm just going to stretch it to the left, okay? Come on, please, okay? I'm just going to stretch it to the left. We see that the market went up, right? Let's come here. We see that the market went up, right? It left a wick here. This is a monthly, né? It left a wick. So already I know that there's a zone that is not so existent that the market is red candle. Look at these red candlesticks. I want you to see how it had a wick, right? So this candlestick was basically just going to touch the zone and it was making its way down. So this candlestick was already respecting a zone that was given birth to this one, right? This one respected and this one is also respecting. So this is the same thing we're saying here. If these two candlesticks both closed under the same zone, it basically means that this one has already indicated a sell and it's going down. Listen here. I'm not saying there's no buy taking place here, right? But I am just saying this thing is basically just pulling back. I could be wrong, but my analysis shows me a strong buying pullback. Remember, we do not, look at H4. That thing is selling. We do not trade against the trend, right? Currently, Mina, I'm just seeing a buy that is taking place. Obviously, because the market was forced to respect the zone, it's currently sitting on another zone. It will push down. You might not agree, but I see what you mean. But now remember, even that weekly candlestick, it's new. It's only Monday now. It left that. It looks like on weekly. If you look at this, right, it looks like it has indeed left a wick and it's going up. But that wick was only left because that thing was respecting a zone. If you check that thing nicely, it's gonna go up. It's gonna leave another wick. It's gonna go down and cover that wick that you said is being respected. Yes, on H4, the only reason why we have that thing that obviously did respect, right, on the zone is because it had no other choice. That's a zone of sensitivity. But boy, trust me, my nigga, this buy we need to watch is not an entry. It is the market pulling back. We're gonna get proper entries up because remember, we sell high, is pushing high, right? And if you study this thing, we're only getting buy pullbacks, meaning it's selling. If the market is buying, you get sell pullbacks. Currently, we don't have sell pullbacks. Or am I lying?
We did, dog. We did, honestly. The sell that happened last week was a pullback for the major buy that's coming.
Here's the sell. I'm looking at that sell. The market went down. It pulled back as a buy. This is H4 now, boy. The market went down. It pulled back as a buy. Look at how strong this sell is. This is nothing compared to what we have going on here. Even this buy, look, the market sold. It bought. This is a sell. This is a sign of a sell because why? It's a buy pullback. It went down. It's currently buying as a pullback. It's going down. This thing, my nigga, it's a buy. People are just, you want to look at the overall picture. Remember, every market will have an opposite trend happening within.
Okay, fine. Can I show you something?
Okay.
Check. So bigger time frame, we are seeing buys clearly. For me, on the high time frame, we're seeing buys. So let's scrutinize this H4 to show that even on the H4, the selling structure is being broken. Remember that we do have this low that I spoke about earlier on, and I said, okay, on this low, we did see a clear rejection. Market failed to close below that low, meaning that this low price, whatever price that was established on this wick area, that was price 29877. We failed to break past it because look at how we left the wick and closed above that region. Now, this is the next possible area that we are looking at on the H4 to say that, okay, fine. At least if we are selling, you see, if you look at this, this is why people blew accounts today to say that, okay, they were looking at this area for a retest, for sales, continuation.
They are wrong.
Sales,
those
right?
people are wrong because that thing was not a retesting zone. If they looked at the weekly chart, they would have seen that that thing needs to pass that zone. They are very wrong.
Fine.
Those people.
But okay, on the H4, let's look at the H4 structure. Remember that even on a pullback, that's a counter trend move. So the market will create a counter trend as it's pulling back, right? So for me, this was a counter trend, and this counter trend has to be broken. Why? Particularly because this previous low held so much that now we are now currently buying from that area. The biggest buy is coming this week on US30 talk. And why I'm saying this is because right now we are breaking this bearish structure. We are done with this zone. The next zone that we have to finish with now is this one over here. Is that high? According to the H4 structure, that's the next zone that we have to finish with. For now, we can clearly say that, okay, fine. We are done with this one. We've closed above it. We can come back to retest it. Look at now my moving average as well is now confirming the buys. This zone, we are done with it. The next one is this one. Once we get to that zone, then we have closed above that neckline, about to body double top and whatnot. If we come to that zone, we have closed above now this region. And the next possible thing that's going to happen is a slight pullback into this area and go. And once that happens, then this trend line, this one here, would have been broken. Because remember that if the market comes to this area, from here, we shoot up straight to that level. Then what's happening here? The trend line is broken. The market can possibly react to retest what the broken trend line in that previous zone. And from there, we have now we have that high zone that we have to deal with. The one that's now up there. The one that's now up there. The one that is now up there. We can now come and deal with that zone. And I am saying to you now, what I'm seeing here, based on structure alone, we can have a zone at the top. So we have major zones at the top, major zone at the bottom, right? And if market is moving within here, if market moves from resistance to support, from support it has to go to resistance. From resistance it has to come back to support. Ideally speaking, this is now these are now facts. You see, it's now from support to back to resistance. So the market moves within the support and resistance ranges.
Yeah.
If we are being honest, and then now if you look at what's happening here, we have that major zone of resistance and this major zone of support. You see, so now the market clearly showed us that we moved from support to resistance. Then from the resistance back to support. So we are now leaving support. So the next possible zone, where is the next possible target? If we are being honest, if we move from support, where are we going? If we are being honest, we are going back to resistance. And this is a possibility that we can go back up to that resistance, because right now at this point, we have this major support and that major resistance. Someone else might even debate with me and say, no, that zone is around here. You see, someone can say, no, that zone is around here. That was a fake out. Even if that zone is around here, that zone, you can see market is currently above that zone. So from this zone, we are going back to resistance, you see. So for me right now, I am seeing market moving within these two zones. If anything, if this thing has to drop, it will drop at least around that high, because we have to get to that major resistance. We have to get to major resistance. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. And looking at the facts of this area that we rejected on, that 29, is a previous high from the monthly time frame. This is where stock market crash happened, around the same area. This is what stock market crash happened. So from here, I'm thinking that from this area, we held. So let's draw structure. For the guys who are here, for the 800 guys who are on this slide, you guys just got a free lesson from myself and Kels. I want to show you something, something that I really consider a lot when I'm trading. I really consider this when I'm trading. I want to show you something that's going to change your life tonight, just by looking at what I'll be doing now. So this is what's going on. So on structure alone, this is what can happen. Market can push up, pause. So once it pauses and prints out a low, we mark out that low. We mark it out. So we are going to be marking out. The market will push. Market from this point, the market can push to even the highest point. But if it comes back to this area and doesn't break this area, it can push to whatever zone. But if it comes back to this area and doesn't break this area, I guarantee you I can put my whole account and say, if that lowest point is holding, then I can start buying from that point to the next possible higher high. If this low is holding. Why? Because this is still a bullish structure. Look at this. We've got a low, and then we have a high, and then we have a higher low over here. So this higher low point would have held even on the right, you see, creating what most people are calling a double bottom. So double bottom for me would just practically be market touching the same area twice before it leaves. So for me, this is the case that, okay, fine. Even if the market comes back to here, then it wouldn't have broken past that zone, especially if the market creates a higher high. From higher point, we expect a higher low. It's unfortunate that now at this point, this pullback was not a 38%, was not a 50% or a 61% or even a 71.8% retracement, but this was a 100% retracement back into the previous lowest point. And from this area and region, what I'm looking at is that the market will then break out and go into our extension levels, which would be obviously the D extension based on how we use our strategy. For all the guys that I mentor, they can see what I'm talking about right now, that the previous low on an upward trend, it holds. And once the previous low holds, the market will still go up. My own personal basis of selling is if the market breaks past this previous low. I will explain why I mean by that, and I can prove it even on the charts to say that if the market does this, pushes up and then pauses, creates that low, and then pushes up and then breaks past that low, then we have what we call a lower low. Then the market would have now changed structure because now this is a lower low. From a lower low point, I will then say, okay, fine. The market is creating a lower low. So what I will expect is a retest from this area to go down. All right. So this is what I'm saying. So let me do something to you, Ne. I want to do something for you to change your perspective just a bit. So let me do this. I want to show my face when I'm doing this because I want to see I wanna see something. Ne? I wanna see something. I'll change charts. I wanna see something, and I want you to tell me what you are seeing on this chart. Ne?
Yeah.
I want you to tell me what you are seeing on this chart. So you must tell me what you are seeing on this market. So what I opened a different chart. Ne? So if you look at this structure, what are you seeing? Are you seeing a buy or a sell on this market?
Let me see the time frame first.
This is still the weekly time frame, but a different chart.
Please just wipe it.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm losing my focus. I think I know why. Sorry. Flip. Why is my camera not focusing? Waban. Kibo ma ba mo live ng bar kawatang kabuloy busiku somon. Camera guys are focus. Okay, fine. There you go. What do you see on this structure? Please be honest with me and tell me what you are seeing on this.
Okay, cool. Let me see the time frame.
This is the weekly time frame.
I want to go up there. I want to see if it's weekly.
W.
Oh,
check
okay,
what
cool.
W. Enter. This is the weekly.
Just zoom in.
Like this.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sharp. I'm seeing a sell there.
Why are you seeing a sell?
Because you see this current candlestick that is taking place now. I want you to see how it draw a zone there on the beginning of the week.
Here.
Yes. On the current candlestick. On its week. Yes.
Yes.
And then just extend it to the left. That thing is a sell.
This thing is a sell, Nick. Are you sure?
100%.
Why are you not considering this bullish candlestick?
Okay, you know what? That is why I'm saying people need to study every week that is given birth to. That candle that is currently growing now, that thing was a buy at some point, right? But the fact that it left a week means that it retested on a level, it's now going down.
Okay, so this is US30, right? So this is what we've been looking at. The same thing.
You see, that's why I stuck to myself. So quickly, can I show you something? Boy, let me show you something. Look at this. You spoke of how a lot of people...
Nah, dog, look.
No. Wait, let me show you something. Martin, wait.
I was like, dog,
listen to this.
Martin. I said to you, okay, fine. What are you seeing there? And you're like, okay, it's a sell. I was like, why are you saying a sell? You saw a retest of what? A previous zone, right? And I said, okay, fine. Why are you not paying attention to the buying candlestick? You're like, no, we need to understand that buying candlestick was just pushing to retest that previous low. Now, this is US30 exactly, but flipped. And do you know why I flipped it, Ned? Because sometimes our minds are able to see selling markets more than buying markets. Sometimes our minds are able to see buying markets more than selling markets. So right now, you were able to clearly see the sell on a flipped chart. But on a buying chart, you cannot see the sell because I don't know why. But it's the same chart. I just flipped it over. It's the same chart.
Martin, and I'm going to say this again, right? US30 is selling, right? And I want to show you something quickly. When you, this is H4, ne? When you drew the zone, you drew it like this. It's wrong, right?
Why?
This thing I would have drawn like this.
Why? Why are you drawing it there?
Yeah.
Why are you drawing it there?
Let me zoom out. I want to show you why I'm drawing it there. Sorry. Let me just do this. Okay, remember, sharp. I usually pay attention to the closing of every candlestick. Yeah? This is past information, us predicting what might potentially happen in the future, right? I would have drawn this like this. This is very accurate for me because even this one closed above. This one literally closed on the line. I want you to see how all of these candles were respecting the zone. And even this wick itself, right? It went down, closed above. Check these guys here. These guys could not break past this. This already tells you something, okay? You can see that this thing rejected 1, 2, 3. When this thing, remember, from when you and I started speaking, you guys said this thing needs to push up. And I said to you, dog, this thing is literally just retesting a zone. It is gonna go down, right? Look at what's currently happening now. I just want to now mark this. So everyone that actually bought today was very, it's okay to buy, but you guys are basically going against the market structure. Remember, if we're now trying to get ready for sales, if I'm saying this is a pullback, if you look at this, we sell high, we sell at a zone of sensitivity. The market is currently sitting at our previous zone of sensitivity. Our sellers are now triggered in, dog. This thing, this week was literally the market pushing all the buyers out. People bought, they were busy saying buy and sleep. All of you blue accounts, you're currently in minuses. This thing is going down. Bro, let me tell you something. Right? I'm running out of words. I want you to add someone else. But between you and I, we'll look at the structure tomorrow, same time, and see if this thing has gone down or up. Yeah? I'm out of words. But I'm telling you, everyone who wants to buy, it's fine. But I'm saying this thing is selling. Remember, there was a point in time. Boy, listen, there was a point in time when NASDAQ sold for 2 months. And remember, before it sold for those 2 months, it was buying forever, right? Because I heard you saying this is an index, it needs to push up. Yes, an index needs to push up, but it does get exhausted. It needs to pull back so it can retest and push up again. But this, for me personally, this thing is going down. This was actually the most perfect entry for a sell. Although we don't just get wicks. This thing says something. And the fact that it's coming to close below the zone should already tell you that this thing is selling. Everyone who knows that this thing was selling was patiently watching this. But okay, the ones that bought, I don't know where you bought. Martin, you know what? It's a sell, boy. Much love from my side.
Whilst we are still in profit, our buys on USD to around 30,000.
Please close your buys. Or put stop
I'm not
loss
gonna
and
close
entry,
them.
boy.
We are going to 30,500.
Okay, guys. I'm saying sales, ne? Thank you so much. I learned a lot from you, boy.
You know,
I learned a lot from you, but I'm disagreeing with your analysis still, ne? I'm saying this thing is a
dog,
definite
I still
sell.
love you, dog. I still love you, dog.
I still love you. I'll come to your house tomorrow when the sell is pushing down. Please stop loss and entry.
Not a problem, boy. Okay. Let me add Manando. Let's see what Manando has to say.
Sure.
All right, sure. Manando the goat, umokaya buti.